Uh, hey, Michael, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, very good, very good. So we're talking a little bit about customer experience today. But before we get started, not everybody will know who you are. So I just thought, who are you, and who's Michael outside the office?
Okay. Hi, world. I'm Michael Ollitervo-Murphy. I'm married to Pavel, hence the Finnish double-barreled surname Ollitervo. Lots of people think it's Italian. I live in West London with my husband and our two cats, Mr. Bum Bum and Mutzi. And what do I do outside work? Okay, so probably my biggest passion after customer experience and customers is travel. So I'm a really avid frequent flyer. I am a major collector of air miles. And if there's a deal to be had, I will find it. So maybe I should start a career in that too. So just booked my 23rd trip for the next 12 months last night.
Wow, wow, amazing. All right, cool. And so we're talking about customer experience a little bit, given your new role as the customer experience leader for the consumer business in the UK at Mercer. And I guess when you talk about customer experience, like, what do you mean? How do you define customer experience?
I guess a really simple explanation might be it's the sum of every interaction, every exchange, every contact, whether automated or human, that you have with your customer when you're providing goods or services or products to them. So every single interaction combined, all rolled up, is your customer experience. Some people deliver flawless, brilliant, exceptional customer experiences. Some people deliver a terrible, disjointed, horrible experience. But we all deliver a customer experience. And I guess the reason to have a good customer experience is because we want our customers to fall in love with us. And they do that by forming a habit with us. Once you've got a habit with a business, you stay with them. You're hooked, you stay. So I guess customer experience is about helping people form habits too.
Yeah. And so, for you, like, you must have seen some really great customer experiences and some really poor ones. Have you got any, like, because for me, it like conjures up that thing about actually customer experiences like your brand. Like I always say, your brand is not really what you say it is; it's what your customers say it is. I think that's true, right? And it's almost sort of saying what you're saying, which is that customer experience really defines what your brand is like. So, have you got some examples of ones that are really sort of smashing it and ones that are really letting themselves down?
I think the ones that really smash it. Uh, let's okay. So in the bad old days, a marketing department would define the brand. They set the standard, and they define the slogans and the banners. The best X in the world, the best Y in the world. Um, and they would drive their positioning all around this. And whether the customers experience that or not, I think if you look at more traditional, long established industries like financial services, where you see lots of claims and sexy advertising, and the actual experience you have is really, really poor and disjointed and painful, you can tell the different departments within that organization. You see their inner workings. You see under the bonnet of this beautiful car
It's almost like
because
you're sort of experiencing the company like their org chart.
yes,
Yeah,
exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
And I think this is where customer experiences are really poor because we have a long established process, very parochial views where people will own their specific, well, I'm measured on this and I'll deliver that. I think where you see the real difference is quite often in the digital space. SaaS businesses really have nailed it. If you think about an experience like Uber, there must be many different components to managing tens of thousands of outsourced taxi service drivers coordinating together to collect people, to track where they've gone, the charging, the billing, and everything. And you never feel any of that.
yeah.
Uber turns up on time. If there's a problem, you contact them, they come back to you within 5-10 minutes. It, the ownership of the experience is shared by everyone within that organization. And as such, the brand you associate with trust, with reliability, with exceptional performance. I think newer businesses, particularly those out of California, have really set a benchmark in terms of what customer experience should be about. It's not just about the luxury, the shiny, the cherry on the cake. It's not just about freebies and giveaways and promotional collateral and a free backpack if you sign up today. It really is about that consistent, reliable, seamless experience where I don't worry about it going wrong, but if it does go wrong, you sort me out every time.
Yeah, yeah, and without perhaps sort of wanting to sort of name any names, but have you got any examples of where you've had a really poor experience and I don't know, where that's had a really like negative impact on your view of a brand, or you've decided, oh, actually, I'm not going to use them again after that?
I think some brands, it's you may not be able to not use them. And so if I think about, perhaps there's some train operating services in the UK who across the country, it's a complex pattern where the rail operator employs the staff, but they lease the trains, they hire the right to go on the tracks, and then they hire the access to the stations. And in their rush to make profit, there's a very, very disjointed experience. And so you may be forced to take that train to work day in, day out, but you may loathe them. And the minute that an alternative comes along, you would jump on that, even if it cost you more money. And I think that my own passion, aviation, I love flying on planes, but when things go wrong, that service recovery element of the customer journey is so poor. And you know, those of us who in the know that you can never complain once to an airline to get any kind of compensation for a poor experience or a horrendous delay. You must do it 3 times to get any decent offer. And they put up those barriers specifically, knowing that most people will roll over and give up after the first or second attempt. And so perhaps I don't have a choice on who I fly with to particular destinations because they're the only airline that fly to that destination. But I know that I'm going to have to play a game with them. And that makes me an adversarial I take an adversarial approach to that brand, which is never a good thing, because even if they did a good job, I just kind of feel, well, at least they delivered this time, rather than feeling really happy about it.
It sounds like you're also sort of suggesting that actually service afterwards, if you did have a bad experience, and actually service afterwards could still change your opinion of that brand, and actually that there is a way through service to actually get it back to something that is a good experience afterwards. Is that fair?
Absolutely. You know, I think if the right people in your service recovery, your complaints, or whatever team that you want to call it, fixing things and getting it right for you, it can actually take you back above the level of satisfaction or delight that you were already at with a business. It was one of the benchmarks from Virgin Group that we set a standard that across the group, 92% of customers had to be delighted, but that every business, their customers who contacted them or complained or had a poor experience, ultimately needed to actually give us a higher score in the end than or at least to achieve that same 92%, or ideally higher than the whole customer population. So we knew that if you had a chance to interact with a customer and to touch a customer, that you could actually end up making them happier than they were before.
Yeah, cool. Hey, so you know, I mean, so I sit in the digital world, and I think our kind of roles, our interactions are going to really overlap. But we talk about things like agile, we talk about lean, and we talk about sort of, you know, net promoter score and things like that. And like, what are some of the mantras or sort of philosophies that exist within customer experience?
If you think a well-defined customer experience is a documented customer journey, which is a series of steps that we own, that the customer moves through. And in order to manage the customer through the journey, you have process and workflow instruction. And so you start off with a series of processes that may be great, and then it needs revision. So lean's been a real benefit to the customer experience industry to really help us refine and constantly simplify and remove as much clutter and manual steps as possible, not just from a customer perspective, but also from a business efficiency perspective. Why have 3 people doing 3 different tasks with a customer when one person could do those 3 tasks combined? So I think lean has been an excellent methodology that has really helped many businesses to make their customer journey more seamless, more transparent, and a simpler experience for the customers. That I think is a real mantra actually for all of us in customer experience at the moment. Keep it simple, constantly revising how you do it. New products will come along, new technologies will be introduced, but our goal should perpetually be to make it simpler and simpler. And I guess that links to some of the measures that we focus on. Customer satisfaction used to be a very popular measure, but it's a very short-term view how I feel right now. And it was kind of superseded by Net Promoter Score, and that became the new sexy number. And Net Promoter Score is also very valuable because it gives you a longer term view. So what's our relationship like? I guess the one that I'm really interested in that hasn't quite taken off yet, but I think businesses in the know are starting to use, is customer effort score. So if you think about, we want customers to form the habit of use our products and services, and we want it to be really simple. So if what we're trying to do is to get this habit formed because it's simple. So the metric that I really like, as well as the other two to complement it, is customer effort score. How easy is it to do business with it, with us? And if you think when it's easy to do, it's easier to form the habit. So customer effort score, I think, is another one that we should be tracking and using and probably watching as an industry as a whole.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so let's go back a little bit. You joined us from Virgin Management, and we're excited about that because of what we know about Virgin. But tell us a little bit about what was the role that you had there, and just give us a little bit of a background.
So I've been living in South Africa for about a year, and I was looking for a new work opportunity, and Virgin Mobile South Africa were advertising for someone to set up their customer service and telesales. And so I went along and met the team and thought, wow, this is really cool, really interesting. And obviously, being a Brit, I knew about Virgin. I'd seen lots about Richard Branson and the businesses in the UK, and had used various businesses. But helping to create from scratch, from a team of 6 or 7 people, turning it into a fully fledged launch business was one of the most challenging and exciting journeys in my life. And I think the thing that was really interesting was that what I perceived Virgin to be as a consumer in the UK, from the inside, building it in a completely different continent on the other side of the world, it was also the same. It was built on an ethos of love your employees, love the team, because happy, engaged people deliver a great experience to customers. Customers who get a great experience stay longer, they recommend you more, and ultimately you see the shareholder returns as a result of that. So building that was really, really exciting. And then I was approached by the group head of brand to perform a role across the whole group head of customer service. And Richard Branson was very, very clear. It was not a role with a big stick to go in and tell the businesses, you're bad, you're not doing it right. It was a role of working in consensus, to work collectively with everyone around the different businesses. So 30 odd countries, 137 businesses, so different and so diverse, yet all still Virgin businesses. And so working with the aviation businesses to make it more seamless, or working with the businesses in EMEA, helping new businesses launch, Virgin Mobile Qatar or Virgin Money Canada, or perhaps even closing down businesses such as Virgin Megastores, the record business. Whilst it was a very painful thing to do, I think we worked really hard to make sure we didn't damage the brand, and that a brand that was greatly cherished by the UK and American consumers was gently laid to rest, as things had moved on from there. So it was the most fascinating business, and working with all of these huge, tiny, brand new, really old businesses, all at different levels, but still always having this mantra about brilliant customer service, clear simplicity, and innovation, not just for the sake, not being different just for the sake of it, was kind of at the heart of every one of those businesses globally.
Yeah, awesome. And so you've been at Mercer now for almost coming up to 2 months, is it?
Yeah.
And what do you see as your role here then? So what's the kind of the scope of what you're doing?
Okay. I see myself as the guardian of the customer experience. And some people say, don't you own the customer experience? And I say, no, we all own the customer experience, and different areas own their chunks of it. But I'm the guardian. I'm the person who's here to, I guess, represent the needs of the customer, make sure that customer experience is consistent, is constantly moving up, is getting better, is more valuable to us and to the customer, and to drive forward customer value change that will ultimately deliver our shareholders the return that they want and need. So I guess it starts in part with the business, with helping the business to map and then to fully own that customer journey. So we need to be it's our products and services, and so we need to own that, and we need to help the customers to move through that journey as easily, as seamlessly as possible. And one of the main goals for me, certainly in the short term, is about moving away from a passive model of supporting customers when they ask for help and moving into a customer success model where we proactively manage customers through the customer journey.
Cool. That sounds really good. So sort of like a bit of a guru that we could call on in different parts of the business in order to help us to define client and customer experiences better. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think it's a good one. Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. So I guess like in a world like ours in Mercer, right? So we're B2B consultant traditionally, but now moving into that more digital space as well, especially with the consumer business. What does good digital experience, customer experience in a digital realm look like? What do you think? Like, what would success look like? How will we know if we're winning?
Um, I guess I always like an analogy, and every day, at some point in the day, there's certain apps on my phone I always check. There's certain websites I always visit, and I over my lunch break I'll check the BBC News website. We form habits, knowing that the habits have been formed, and being able to measure the consistency of those habits. I think is a key part because we're delivering a simple, really easy to use and see the benefit experience with the occasional surprises and twists and additions for our customers. So I guess if we need to move away from conventional measurement to see, in order to see that we are successfully helping our customers form a habit, to rely on our products and services to help them enrich their life now and in the future. So if I think about examples that I really love of how some businesses have really made a difference, like First Direct, and who goes to a bank now to pay a check-in with a bank teller, stand in a queue and wait for the money to be moved from an account to the other, and who goes onto their phone to move the money from the savings account to the current account in 10 clicks or so. So being able to measure our internal efficiency in terms of simplicity of the experience and our external measure of the customers having formed habits, the outcome, the output from that is customer fans, is that viral growth of our product because customers are having such a positive experience. Clients are taking up new goods and services and the latest offerings that we have with our customers. And that ultimately that dynamic of a relationship changes between the client and the customer with us from customer supplier into partners, adding value and helping people to achieve better wealth outcomes or become financially better off as a result of our goods and services, and also healthier and help their career forward too.
Yeah. And so I guess that because our business is very much, traditionally is sort of seen as consultant and broker. And so in the role that we're playing here, especially in the consumer business, very much in terms of, okay, so we're helping our clients, we're helping our consumers, and we're also helping sort of maybe younger companies than ourselves to actually gain scale in some of their products and services and offerings. So actually some of it's about how we interact with those guys too, right? So it's about how do we help them to do business with us in an effective way. Is that fair?
Oh, definitely. I think we're all part of the family, and smart businesses don't try and control everything themselves. They leverage the relationships and the partnerships that they have of others who have the expertise. So absolutely, when I talk about we, I definitely mean all of the partners that we work with too.
Yeah, brilliant. Hey, last question. So obviously you came from Virgin, and I know from sort of various conversations that we've had that you had the opportunity to work on occasion with Richard Branson directly. So what was it like sort of working with him, hanging out with him? What makes him a special, like this kind of aura, I guess, around Richard, rightly or wrongly, but what makes him a special person, and why are people attracted to him?
It's funny that actually that people see him as this amazing person. From his personal perspective, he's one of the most humble, normal, down-to-earth people I've ever met. He's got a really kind of geeky sense of humor. He just talks to anyone and everyone, always got a smile. He's a very, very astute businessman, but at the same time, he's a very human caring person. So there's this kind of image of him as this guru with the halo around his head, I think is what makes the staff and the people that work with him, Virgin, love him so much, because they know Richard as he's just this great guy that walks in the office and shakes your hand and goes for a beer with you and is really normal. And I mean, my first real interactions with him were when I was still at Virgin Mobile in South Africa, and we were launching the business. And Richard always makes sure that there is a press party, of course, for a launch of his business, where he has to do some wacky stunt. But there's also always a staff party where every member of staff gets invited along to celebrate, the launch of the business. So it was kind of very, very late, well after midnight. And Richard had said, "Is everyone from the company at the party tonight?" And I said, "Well, apart from 2 people in the call center who were there ready for the launch tomorrow in case any system problems." He said, "Oh, that's such a shame that they're missing out on the party." And I said, "Well, not to worry. I've got them a huge big cake in the shape of the Virgin Mobile logo. And then they're going to be able to have that cake and share that and take that home and actually have it some kind of like fun part of the party, even though they missed out." And he said, "Well, do you think they'd quite like it if I gave them the cake and maybe just had a quick coffee with them after their shift? Because obviously they'll be tired when they're finishing the night shift at 6 in the morning." I said, "Well, of course they'd love it, but Richard, you're a busy man, and tomorrow you're launching Virgin Money credit card, which was happening the day after that we'd had our launch for Virgin Mobile South Africa." He said, "That's fine, it's fine. I'll be there. You point them out to me, I'll be there and I'll do this." So, okay, fair enough. So I got there after the party, very hungover and bedraggled and tired, and kind of got the cake, and there he was, and he kind of shooed away all the management and everyone else and just said, "Okay, so is it those 2 ladies over there?" So he walks over to these 2 really young people in my call center, like 18, 19-year-old. And he says, "Hi, I'm Richard Branson." And their jaws dropped with terror and shock. And he said, "I'm really sorry you missed the party, but here, I've got this really big cake for you." It was like a big, huge thing. And he said, "Would you like some coffee?" And so off he went, and he just spent like 40 minutes, an hour, just chatting with them about their lives, and they were chomping through cake. And during that time, other people were arriving on shift. The day was beginning, and I think it was just, he didn't have to do that at all, but he wanted to. And he really hammers home that need to value your people in the organization, because they will then make the customers delighted and the shareholder returns follow. So yeah, there's my own personal first experience of Richard Branson.
Brilliant. All right. Hey, Michael, thanks so much. I've really enjoyed it. I hope other people have the chance to enjoy this as well as they play it back. But thank you. And I know there's more to come in terms of the sort of the customer experience strategies coming and all that. So maybe we'll grab some more time at some stage. But for now, thank you very much.
Cool. Okay. Thanks, Chris.
Bye.
Bye.